Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Three Pros and a Podcast.
Yo, everybody, what's going down? This is your boy Michael Menace Johnson. We're back with a special episode of Three Pros and a Pod. We're gonna revamp a little bit and have a show under the big show. So this is the first one. It's Menace's Mike. It's a play on my name, Menace, Mike. You guys see, like, this kind of quippy. I'll be interviewing guests one-on-one. I'll be talking shit by myself, but I have a great friend, a great coach, and an even better person sometimes. This is my first guest. I'm really excited to introduce the one and only Gregory Jones. Gregory Lyle Jones.
Lyles.
Lyles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me here there, Mr. Menace. And I didn't know this is your first one by yourself. So that's kind of dope. I'm happy to, I was happy to break the ice. I was going to use a different phrase, but I'm happy to break the ice.
Yeah, it's good, man. Thank you. Appreciate you for having it on. You know, I was going through my mind. I was like, you know, there's nobody else better than to have Greg Jones on. We've got so many years with each other.
Oh, we could talk some shit now.
We can talk a lot of shit.
Now.
A lot of shit. A lot of shit. And that's what we're going to do. That's why I had to bring you on. But first, you know, in case I know that people know you. They know your story. But let's like slowly get into how you really kind of got started in the MMA. And then we'll
I mean, I don't get it twisted, man. I take pride at being in the background on things a little bit. So maybe people know of me, but there's not a lot of people that know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I've been on this MMA journey now for it's been 9 years already. It's crazy how fast time goes. You know, I was fortunate enough to win 3 NCAA wrestling championships at West Virginia University. Upon graduation, I started coaching there for 10 years. And then another good friend of ours reached out to me, Rashad Evans, and asked me about my interest in wanting to come down and coach some MMA. So I did that. Did that for a few days, and then a few years later, I came back as a full-time coach, and here we are.
Nice. You and Rashad got a little bit of history before. But y'all got
I knew it. I should have never even put that part up. I knew it.
Y'all knew each other before Florida, right?
Him. I did not know him. Only way I knew Rashad was I would see his name in the rankings. But as I said in my intro, I was fortunate to win 3 NCAA championships. In the year that I didn't win the national tournament, Rashad Evans was actually the guy that bumped me out of the tournament.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
Well, I had lost. It's double elimination, so I had lost my first bout. So I made history in a lot of different ways when it comes to wrestling, as far as like records and stuff like that. But I was the first defending national champion, #1 seed, to lose in the first round of the tournament the following year. So I lost that match. I came back. I won 2 matches, intent on battling all the way back and taking third until I met Mr. Rashad Evans. And Rashad was a good wrestler. Rashad was a good wrestler. I'm not shorting him at all, but Rashad had no business beating me at that point in my wrestling career. But he did. He did his job, and he bumped me out of the tournament.
He was playing spoiler. What did he get in the tournament?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No, he ain't played. He probably had full lot. Beat me, lost the next match.
He probably just left and was like, yeah, I'm the dude that beat Greg Jones, knocked him out of the tournament. That's all I needed. You know, he better not talking. He's still talking shit.
It's just cool. It's just cool kind of how, the wrestling circle's small, the MMA circle's pretty similar. But it's just kind of cool how, like, because I never talked to Rashad before we wrestled. I never talked to him after he wrestled. Like
wow.
And
he just reached out.
And he sent me a message on Twitter, a DM on Twitter, which at the time I rarely used also.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just cool and fascinating how like all these different life experiences are all kind of intertwined together. And
wow,
and
so that's a crazy story. I didn't realize it was like I thought y'all
No,
was
he
like
sent
friends.
he sent
knew
my
each
ass
other.
packing. He sent me packing, dog.
Yeah, but then he brought you back in.
Put
He
me
brought
on.
you back in and
He
put
put
you
me on.
on.
Yeah,
So there you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I whooped your ass, but I got something for you.
It's
the
consolation
next few
prize.
years. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. That's wild. But so I didn't realize that was the history that you made from the defendant. So that would have to play big on your mental, and being in this game, mental is very big, and I struggle with it myself a few times. I know a lot of fighters struggle with it, young fighters, old fighters. How did you even, like, you got to really revamp and dig in deep to come back and win, 2 more titles after?
No, that's well said. That's very well said. I won the national tournament as a freshman, and I did it with, at the time, seemed like relative ease. I can't remember, but I really didn't have a close match. I was never really in danger.
What are you, like, 18?
19? Yeah, 19. I was young, so I was a 19-year-old redshirt freshman. So whenever you do something, accomplish something that big, relatively, which seems relatively easy at the time, I don't think you have you gain an appreciation for it. Yeah. Kind of take things for granted. And I can remember being on top the first year I won, and I looked over and as I'm saying this, I can see the clock in my head, I can see the setting, I can see the crowd behind it. I'm watching 4, 3, the clock counting down, and the first thought before the buzzer even rang is like, okay, now how the hell do I get off this stage? Like I just wanted out of there. Like I won, and it's over, tournament's over, and I won it.
Appreciate it as much.
Yeah, so what switched me is when I came off the mat, my coach put his arm around me, my coach Zeke Jones. He, gave me one of them and a hug, and he goes, it's better to win a national championship. And I said, what's that? He said, winning 2, 3, or 4. And at that moment right there is when I was like, oh shit, like we're really doing something here. That's you know what I mean? We have a chance to do something here. Yeah. So that moment on, I never really allowed myself to appreciate that tournament, and everything was just geared towards being the best, most dominant wrestler I could possibly be, because I was going to make history. Yeah. I was going to be the, 3rd or 4th 4-time NCAA champion. I was committed to it. But just kind of how things go, as you say, you talk about the mental. I was really hard on myself all season. I was undefeated the whole season. But I wasn't really wrestling that well. Guys I should split the score on, I was winning 2-point matches, 3-point matches. And all that shit kind of added up, and which led to, my defeats in the tournament. But without that experience, I don't know if I would have become the complete wrestler that I have. I don't think I would have learned as much about wrestling, as much as about myself, as I would have. And I'm happy to say, after losing that sophomore tournament, because people ask me, like, which tournament win is your favorite? Which one do you cherish the most, or whatever? And it's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's true because they're all different. Like, the first one was the first one. That's always going to be special. As a freshman coming in and winning an NCAA championship relatively easily will always be important. The second one was a sense of redemption, My freshman year wasn't a fluke. I belong here. I am one of the best wrestlers in the country. And with all those experiences added up, I'm happy to say the last time I competed in the NCAA wrestling tournament was the most enjoyable competition that I ever participated in. Had fun. I competed hard. I dominated. I worked through some tough situations. So they're just all different. But you're absolutely right that there's definitely a certain amount of mental fortitude that must go along with that.
Yeah, it's a long journey. I know I wrestled JUCO. You don't know nothing about JUCO.
JUCO still counts.
JUCO still counts.
But as a fighter too, there's a difference between a wrestler and a person that wrestled. You're a wrestler, Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
You're a wrestler. Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know yet. They seen it. But
you let them know.
Yeah, let them know. No. So fast forward, you switch over to MMA. You get down to South Florida, move the family down. I'm appreciated at that point because it made me wrestle more and harder with being with you in the room and actually understanding like who you were. Because honestly, I had no idea who you were. I wasn't that big.
I remember,
Yeah.
because I remember whenever like the second day on the job, you had just got back from Germany with Stoneface.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was in the office, in Glenn's office, and you came in. Like, what are you doing here? Who are you? What are you doing? Oh, word, let's go. But to your credit, to you and Jason, I think you two, two of the OGs with me and Henry's crew, you guys probably bought into this guy. Not probably. You guys bought into this guy, this wrestling guy with no MMA experience, not even one MMA fight. But you guys bought into what I was trying to do from the jump, and that's something that I'll always be appreciative for, because you get a couple guys, and then you have a chance to create a little bit of momentum. And walking into an MMA gym, I don't know what your audience is like, but walking into an MMA gym, I don't know if intimidating is the right word, but there was a lot of unknowns for me.
Yeah.
You know what they told me on my first practice? It was like this. Kamaru came and picked me up. I'm sitting outside of Jocko, and I'm like, all right, this is it. Let's go work. And I'm like, but I don't know what they want me to do.
You know how to warm them up.
I don't know what they want me to do. So I called. I can't remember if I called or texted Rashad. I was like, yo, I'm here, man. I'm ready, but what do y'all need from me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had no direction, nothing whatsoever. And he was just like, what did he say? He said, just run a practice. I was like, all right, cool. I can do that. We're going to run a wrestling practice. And that's kind of how I got started.
And that's what it was. That was good. One thing I appreciated from you, and this is, I think, why I geared to you so much more, is you sat back and you took the time to learn, like, the game. MMA, you sat back, you let people take control, you let people you watch, you just sat back, watched, didn't really talk much, like, came in, you showed a little bit, you went on to somebody else. So you just always sat in the back and you picked up everything like piece by piece by piece by piece.
That's a good observation, Mike.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And that's what I liked about it. I was like, he's taking his time to learn how he can translate his wrestling into MMA. And during that time, the early Black Zillion times, we were fucking getting a lot of coaches that came in and they just thought they knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to pull guys this way, showing some bullshit move you never do in the cage. And they were all trying to be like the guy instead of sitting back and like letting shit happen and seeing where you can be of service, and
No, I appreciate that, and I think you're absolutely right, because that was very intentional and very deliberate, and still to this day, I still do that. I observe and I watch at a very deep level, but I think what it is there's just something that's a very common thing, right? Especially with MMA coaches, where everyone has the secret recipe, everyone shits better than the next guy. Every coach talks shit about the next coach that don't know what he's talking about.
MMA is a fucked up game.
And that's just not me. One, I needed to learn and figure some shit out. But I genuinely believe, I was just talking with someone about this the other day, good coaching isn't always talking and directing and pointing. Good coaching many times is knowing when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
When to back off, let the athlete kind of self-discover some things, whether it be in his wrestling or whatever. But no, I think that's extremely important, because ultimately it's your experience, right? I'm not going to be in the cage with you. You know what I mean? So if I view my job as very much as putting you guys in the position to have success. And that's just kind of the system, filter, whatever that I've arrived at.
So for everybody that hasn't really seen or been to a Greg Jones wrestling practice, anybody, a wrestling practice or a grappling practice or Monday morning practice or any practice that Greg Jones is pushing, he's the man behind. It's intense. Like, it might not be as like work intense, like it's just straight good work, great work, but I mean the energy. And that's what a lot of people miss or don't see is the energy that you put into practice. Is there like a certain reason, which I'm kind of thinking I know, is to, I mean.
No, you know what, to be honest, I've always coached like that. But to be honest, early on in my career, a lot of that may have been, and this is just pure reflection, a lot of that may have been just compensation for lack of MMA knowledge. So if I don't have a very big MMA base, I have to bring something, and that it ended up being energy and intensity, which we all need, regardless of your skill level or wherever you're at. But what was the second part? What was the second part you had? Oh, the energy of practices.
Yeah.
So I view my job. I don't like being called a wrestling coach anymore. I decided. I don't know why.
What?
I
MMA trainer.
No, I looked at myself. I look at myself as an MMA performance coach. Okay, so if I'm a wrestling coach, that means I coach wrestling and I coach wrestling only.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then I am probably not getting the most out of myself, and I'm probably not giving the athletes the best experience that they can possibly have. I have a sports psychology background, so a lot of that comes in, and then just a lot of different things from the leadership and management perspective. Really kind of allow me to do that. But from a training standpoint, like a functional training standpoint, I view my job as setting the atmosphere for the group. If I can develop an atmosphere where people, want to come, they want to work hard, and allow me to help lead them, then we have a chance to really accomplish some things.
Yeah.
I focus a lot on trying to develop athleticism, almost more so than wrestling. But if you're on our mat, you're in a room, there's got to be a certain tempo, there's got to be a certain pace to everything we do. Obviously, we slow it down for learning new skills, stuff like that. But I think you guys operate better. As you know, we don't do any sessions longer than 75 minutes. We just get in, get after it. No need to waste time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Perfect. I think it's seeing other gyms, how other gyms operate. I could be a little biased because it's our gym.
Of course.
But
But I think as a group, and I think you guys have bought into, not just me, I just happen to be sitting here. But for the most part, the fighters have bought into what we're trying to accomplish, and that's perhaps the most important part.
yeah, it's a great thing. It's going great, going good, loving it. The team's doing great. Speaking of the team, we got big fights coming up. December 12th is the next one.
Not this week, next week, right?
Next week, yeah, next weekend.
We're gonna close out the year with Vicente and Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Yeah. So let me get your take on how you see, I guess, how the actual MMA game is. How much is it closer to wrestling? Can you really take that piece away? You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah. No, I got you. You the parallels between wrestling and MMA. One thing that shocked me a lot is, and it still does to this day, is the rate of injury that we have in the MMA gym compared to the rate of injury in the college wrestling room that I had.
Injuries big in college?
More big there than here.
Really?
I think we run a pretty healthy group. Somehow we settled on a schedule. And this is from the beginning, though. And every now and then I'll be on a plane, I'll be sitting there thinking about why we have so few injuries here in MMA than I experience in wrestling. And I
Practice has got to be different. College wrestling practice, I've never been in a D1 college wrestling practice, but I would assume.
But you get the idea, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's something. The closest I've got to trying to figure that out was, wrestling's the same stuff every day. Whereas in MMA, we train hard, but we're
much
switching
to
it
work
up.
on.
You know, well, we're switching it up. We're doing different things on different days, which potentially keeps that overuse shoulder, knee injury from happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I very much run my MMA training classes as I would a wrestling seminar or a wrestling class. Yeah. Just there's just a lot of similarities, and I think in how we need to execute it.
All right, so the fights. I want to talk about Shavkat and Wonder Boy.
Mm-hmm.
How you thinking that? How's he looking? He's looking great. We ain't giving no secrets away what he's been doing and working on. But maybe we can talk about his grappling and you from your wrestling standpoint. How do you see his wrestling? How do you see him as a grappler? I mean, is he that big of a wrestler?
Interesting. Is he that big of a wrestler? I don't know. But can he wrestle? For sure. Yeah. The biggest thing that I see about Shavkat, perhaps more than anyone, and you know our room, not just this one, but the previous ones. We've had a lot of good fighters. We have a lot of good fighters, but we have a lot of good fighters pass through, stop in for a week, month, 3 months, whatever. But the biggest thing that I've seen with Shavkat in his grappling is whenever he gets to a hold, he finishes it. If you go back and watch his fights, all of his submissions take very little adjustments. Yeah. He just knows how to get to the right spot fast and efficient. And whenever his hands get locked, the fight's pretty much over. So from a wrestling and grappling standpoint, that's what I would kind of take away. But Shavkat can do pretty much anything. Let's see. You know, I don't think he's going to be that fight distance, level change, leg attack guy. But he certainly has other skills that can make up for
he
that. He
makes people wrestle into him to snatch him up.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll get that with Wonder Boy. Yeah. But if you hit a guy enough, he's got to come forward eventually, right?
Well, the look at this fight, you see he gets Wonder Boy to the cage, drags him down, snatches him up.
Very well could, yeah. That's not out of the question. Yeah.
The bigger fight is Luke and Ian, which is our ex-teammate, gym mate. Can you call him? Yeah. How do you see that one? That's the whole ordeal with Ian and what's going on in his stories. I mean, you really want to get into it?
Not really.
Not really, because I don't really want to either.
I don't think they deserve that. Fight deserves that, but.
Let's not take away from the fight.
No, you know what? Fight. And if you remove all that stuff from it, it's probably pretty good matchmaking. Yeah, it's a very interesting fight. Even with Ian jumping the line a little bit, it's a very interesting fight, and I'm looking forward to it. And you do this enough. In a 50-50 matchup, I tend to lean towards experience.
Yeah.
And you can't buy it. You can't replace it. So
I agree. But that's another thing. Everybody thinks that, like, MMA is like a young man's game. And, he's younger in fight, and he's the younger fighter. He's faster, this or that. I don't know if it's because I'm getting up in age. But I disagree. Like, I disagree.
What do they say is a fighter's peak age?
I don't know, maybe 32, 33,
right in that
maybe
neighborhood.
Somewhere around there when you get your grown man strength, kind of a little bit.
Damn, man, 33, you got your grown man strength?
Exactly, like, no, I still don't have mine, I don't think. Like, I've been trying to find this shit, man. I've been trying to find it forever, but I bet I need a few more years.
But it's funny, though, because, too, is like you're having, with that point you made, you're seeing a lot more younger fighters that are coming in. Like, I can remember whenever I started working, I would see you would have a female on the main card with a 4-2 record.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a little bit of disservice. You got some guys on the prelims that have 30 fights. it's a little disservice to them and their body of work. But now we have the same thing with male fighters. You got guys getting into the UFC with 5 or 6 fights.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? And it just I think it's watered down the product a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. They got so many cars, they gotta fill them.
Yeah,
so getting fighters left and right, and yada yada.
And those guys are replaceable. I would like, the NFL. The NFL has that stat where whatever. Year 3 is their big year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
if you make it to year 4, you're pretty much going to make it, which means that after year 3, a lot of people, or get rid of, or cut or released or whatever. And some of that is financial,
Yeah.
But you take that same concept and the NFL is going to go out and get a younger draft pick, a younger free agent, to keep from having to pay you and then pay you for the rest of your life, right? So I'm curious about, I haven't looked at this, but if we look at MMA fighters and these guys coming in on the Contender Series, what is their average UFC career? Some have done very well, but there's a shitload of them.
Some are in and out.
Right.
Because they throw them to the wolves.
So they're borderline replaceable in some ways. I'm not shitting on anyone stepping in the cage because I have
we're finna get one out of there.
Yeah.
Dude came from a Contender Series. Yeah, he finna
so so that's the kind of way I look at that. Is like that free agent and going into year 4 is replaceable. But I'd be curious to see the length of the career of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, even like if you take the opposite, you take the guys in our gym, you take Aziz, right? Abdelaziz. Abdelaziz is 3-0. No one will fight him. The reason why no one will fight him is because he has 20 amateur fights that he's undefeated in. Yeah. Whereas here, our guys and Americans will say, they just want to get to the next level. They're not interested in developing, interested in learning.
They don't want the tough fights. They don't want this is where I feel like, and see, here's another shit where I'm going to say I feel like I'm an old man or some shit, which I'm not. But when I got in the game, you know what I mean?
You're talking about like in the game tough? Or before?
Pre-tough.
Okay.
So this is what we're talking 2005.
Damn.
Yeah, I know, right? that was what you're like told you. That was what your second NC title.
That's my senior year, my last one. Yeah.
So yeah, that would not 2005. That was my freshman year of college. Just fuck out of here. 2005, I know, right? That was my freshman year of college. 2006, I went to Merrimack and wrestled after playing football at Central Methodist. So 2007, yeah. So we're thinking 2007, 2008. 2010 was my first time on the Ultimate Fighter. So we're thinking around those times. Yep. Like when I was in Missouri and like the Midwest
trying
circuit,
to figure it out. Yeah.
Trying to figure out, driving 4 or 5 hours up to Iowa to fight, down to Columbia, Missouri to fight and everything, Kansas City. But this is a time where, I mean, bro, everybody was fighting everybody. Like, oh, you're the tough guy, you're the badass from Kansas City? Well, guess what? I'm the tough guy from St. Louis. We got to fight. That's me and James Krause.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know that me and him fought back in the day. Yeah, the motherfucker triangled me. He triangled me. I dropped him and he triangled me. I know, right? But he was years ahead of me in the MMA game, years ahead of me in the jiu-jitsu game. Like, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize when they look at me like, bro, I got in the UFC at 2010, like I was still learning the game. I'm still learning the game.
Yeah, as you should be. Yeah, as lifelong learning.
But there's guys that have so many years of wrestling. I didn't wrestle till high school. You know, these guys have been doing jiu-jitsu forever. I didn't do jiu-jitsu till I started fighting.
Right.
You know, like I was just a knucklehead street kid. I just want to fight. Like, what's up? Like, I can fight and not get in trouble.
Well, I think we see a lot of that too. And I use it as scouting a lot, and I can tell a guy whenever I watch film. I can tell a guy that is truly committed to his craft, truly committed to putting the work in, and becoming the best fighter he can possibly become. But a lot of guys, and even in the UFC and everywhere, a lot of guys stumbled upon fighting because they hit a point in their life where they didn't have anything else.
Oh, this is never plan.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know if it should be. But you hit a point where you're like 26, 27, mom's like, yo, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
You gotta go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
for
kind of
sure.
thing. And they stumbled upon fighting for those reasons. And I'm not saying you fit in this category because you have grown, involved, and developed and built out a really good career. But whenever I'm scouting, I can spot that guy, and I will use that to my fighter and be like, this guy, it's not in him. It's not in his core.
Yeah.
He's play fighting. He's fighting for a paycheck. He's fighting because he had no other options.
A lot of people just fight to say they're fighters.
A lot of people fight just as they put it on top of their Instagram page too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that.
It's crazy. Like back in the day, we had a guy training with us, and like he had just started training. And every time we would go out, like we fighters, I have to walk
You
away
gonna have
from
me
him.
in here
Yeah, like,
fighting.
get the fuck out of here, bro. I don't know what he's talking about. Like I don't even know him. Like
No,
like
that's way too
everywhere,
common.
like just doing it because like it thinks like it gives him like a little bit of like clout, or girls want to come up to him. And,
You know,
like,
I just learned this probably a week or two ago. I was talking to not your producer, but a different producer, and I didn't realize that a large portion of the appeal of MMA and UFC from a fan's perspective is some old tough guy sitting at home watching, saying, "I can do this. I can beat him. I can do this." So they put themselves in that position. I didn't realize it. I guess it makes sense, but go ahead and try.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's the
crazy.
cool part. I'm going to finish this point. But that's the cool thing, too, is we've been in a lot of gyms with NBA players, NFL players, professional baseball players. Everyone wants to be in the big three, right?
Yeah.
But anytime some of those athletes are near us, they all want to learn how to do that.
Yeah. Oh, damn, you fight,
all
you
want-
fight.
they all
Oh,
want-
everybody wants to be a fighter.
I just think that's interesting how that
yeah,
works.
and they look at me like, you know, I've trained with a lot of these NFL guys and NBA.
you
Yeah,
fight?
yeah, with Tony Villani and everything. Shout out to those guys. But
Tone.
yeah, but they look at me like, you fight, and then they watch my videos and train like, oh shit, you fight, and then you
you fight.
you fight. They're training with me. They're like, man, I want to do this. I look at them, it's like, no, you don't, bro. Take your $1 million ass on somewhere.
Hey, but physically, there's a ton of MMA world champions on the NFL sideline.
Yeah,
A ton of them. But I don't know if many of them could restart and be humbled the way MMA does.
So back in the day when like me and Tony was really like working, I was running with all the D-backs and everybody. He brought in Eric Berry. Shout out to EB from
remember
Kansas
EB.
City. He was
stick
down
your
here
boy.
training. And he was calling these workouts, like these Menace workouts, because I'm on this treadmill and I'm doing 30 seconds and running around this gym. And, you know, he was doing them with me. And that kind of made me feel good, like even like him being next to me doing these workouts. And I swear, man, this guy's like Superman. Like, I don't
that's
think
not
you've heard.
that's not normal for a football player like him.
No, and
Yeah.
either that, he was fighting a really severe case of like cancer at the time.
do remember
and
that,
This he got really sick. He got really sick. He had to stop playing, and then out of nowhere, he came back and played. He played another
Several years.
Yeah, he played another few years, and I slowly I watched like what he was going through because he was still doing. He would come in with
Chiefs, right?
Yeah, he would come in with like a little bit of like hair, but he was still blowing through workouts, running through everybody, and nobody knew about it. I didn't know about it. You know, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, that's just incredible, right? Yeah, but I'm like, that's incredible. That's what that man went through and does, and like it was nothing.
No, and that's probably why he was so good too.
Yeah, you think that's got to be big mental. And like, how do you even learn to like grow that? Like, are you born with a mentality like that, or you develop a mentality like that, or
Maybe both. Maybe some type of combination of both. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of ways to get there. But obviously, you have to be forged in the fire.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and who knows him? Who knows about him? But you know, who knows about growing up? What background? What other sports? You know, because all your life experiences kind of go into the same pot and they come out to hopefully wherever you direct your energy at. So it's hard to say where that comes from, but it's got to be a combination of biology and sociology. It just has, it has to be.
Definitely. So how many years have you been in MMA? 9 years?
9 years.
9 years.
Man.
All those years through wrestling and everything. You've traveled the world for sure.
A lot of it.
One of the reasons I got into MMA is to travel the world. You know, like I ain't come from any money, so I want to see all these places. I want to be cultured. And I'm like, wait a minute, like I can
get paid
fight.
to do
I can
it.
get paid. They're going to send me somewhere for free. Just let me fight. Okay, so I'm in. You know what I mean? And that was my big thing because like when I got started, like money wasn't big in MMA.
Yeah, anywhere.
It just wasn't. Yeah. So when I first got in, even in the UFC, the money wasn't that big. Right. That's why I wasn't focused on it. I was just focused on fighting the best of the best. And
let's try and get back to that.
Yeah,
let's try and get back.
I try
to like that process-oriented approach.
Yeah, enjoying the process. I try because when you see people come up and get money, and I'm like, damn, he got this for this. Man, I beat this. Hold up, wait a minute, what? Like, wait a minute, I knocked him out. Like, how many fights ago? And he's getting this. I just like look, and that's a bad. Like, we've talked about it all the time. Man, fuck everybody else. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
And that's what I really been working on and trying that. It's just that process of it, and that's the good part about it.
No, I think that's extremely important. What do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah. But driving in a nice car and somebody pulls up in a nicer one, you're like, man, I'm in this piece of shit. Like, get this shit out of here, But that's the mindset. Is not a good one.
But but what did you say? How did you start that question? You had something else you said that I
just traveling the world. We're gonna.
I think that's. I'm from Slickville, Pennsylvania, dog.
Slickville. How many population?
What is that? The Census Bureau. I think Slickville is at 390 people.
What, Ben? Can we get the maestro in that real quick?
The high school, the town that I drove into high school also wasn't very big, but it was one of those towns where you graduate high school. You may or may not go to college. If you do, you go to community college or you go to somewhere local. You graduate, then you move back home and you live there the rest of your life.
Do they still got the home of Greg Jones sign in front of
the?
Look at that. That's crazy.
We're gonna make.
I gotta say,
there.
that's crazy. There's only in 2020 there was 195 people.
What?
That's
bro.
awesome.
I had that.
Look.
Bro, my gym class in high school was bigger than that.
So
that's crazy. It was the highest in 2012. 519 people.
Are they fleeing?
It just has been a slow.
It's about 75 Joneses too. So
they own the whole Slickville.
But my point is that's where I'm from. The opportunities that wrestling has provided me are numerous. One of them being the opportunity to travel the world on someone else's dime.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of weird life shit. Is like I used to be scared as hell to fly. I had a panic attack on an airplane one time, and I was sure I was dying. But I inherited fear of flying from my parents and probably a lot of people in my family. We ain't flying. We're gonna drive. We're gonna take the train. We'll drive whatever.
We drove because flying was too expensive.
Me too. That was the first time I was in St. Louis. We took the train. It was a 26-hour train ride. From Greensburg to St. Louis. It's the first time I went for the NCAA championship. But anyway, it's that's at times it gets hard personally just to try to like develop a consistent schedule or a consistent routine. But that is absolutely a perk of the job.
What's the best country you've been? Or city or UFC or?
I tell you what. I really, really enjoyed Stockholm, Sweden. I thought Stockholm was a really cool city.
Were you with me when I fought Madadi?
No.
No, right? Maybe
I was there with Rumble. I don't know if you remember when Rumble knocked Gustafson out.
Yeah.
It was like 58,000 people, real steep arena. We was on top of it.
I fought.
So I was there for that, and I was there a second time. I think Vulcan may have fought there. Okay. But I really like Tel Aviv.
See, that's where I want to go. Not now, maybe, because they tripping.
Hold off and look up.
Yeah, they tripping.
No, it's. Let me get philosophical here for a second, and when we're on this travel thing, is we oftentimes think we are more important than what we are. A lot of people, not just us, but just a lot of people tend to do that. Whenever I'm traveling through a foreign airport, and I do this every time, is as I'm walking, I love traveling by myself. I love just traveling by myself, doing my own thing, wandering, doing whatever.
I've seen you wander off. Every
That's what
city
I do.
we go
I'm a
to, you just
wander.
wander off. I see videos of him just walking.
What they say, that all that wander aren't lost. So
Yeah,
I don't get lost. But I just enjoy wandering.
They
and
look
just kinda,
lost. They definitely
I just kind of enjoy wandering and just see what I see at my own pace. But every time I'm in a foreign airport, I almost take like a bird's eye view, almost like a satellite view that I kind of visualize, but it's way zoomed out. And here I am, Florida over here on the map, and here I am in this airport looking up just a little dot.
It's like spiritual almost.
No, it's a weird just kind of connection to the earth that I think reason why all people should, especially young people, should travel as much as they can. But it just alludes something to, how insignificant we are. Like
small we are compared to everything else.
Compared to like just the big world out there. Sometimes the best sleep I get is on the airplane. That's unfortunately, but
I get really good sleep if I'm lucky enough to get like a business class going like 10, 11 hours.
See, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the business class.
And then you get laid down, full lay down, and like, if they land, you get full lay down, and then they land. I'm like pissed off. I'm like, man, I'm good sleep. Like, I'm comfortable. Like, let me sleep for a little bit longer.
So those long haul flights for sure. But for those shorter ones, I don't like a lot of space. I like to sleep like I'm kind of like in a little cubby.
Yeah.
It probably comes from whenever I was a kid. I slept on the power laundry for like 6 months. We had a big family in a small house, bro. I mean, we had to get in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? But shit, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, go ahead.
What were you talking about before you said the power laundry? Can't remember.
What you got me? What were we talking about before the power laundry? You call him Maestro?
Yeah, my Maestro.
You guys were talking about the fights, right?
Yeah, but we were just talking about just traveling. Oh yeah, just.
Yeah. So I like to
be
be nestled in on the airplane.
Yeah.
I like a window seat. And I like to be nestled in. If I get too much space, then I lean too much when I try to fall asleep, and I can't sleep. So I like a window seat. I like to be cuddled up. I would actually take a middle seat before I take an aisle seat. I like feeling enclosed. Yeah,
I think so too.
I don't know. This is personal.
Just because people fucking hit your elbows and shit.
Yeah.
And
My favorite seat on the airplane, if I'm not in business, is the window seat on the very last row.
Oh hell no! You can't even recline.
My shit, but I can see everything. Something jump off. I'm ready for it.
Yes, I guess they say like the back part of the plane is like the best one if it crashes.
Oh man, I don't think about that shit. I just like being there.
Just hold on to something. I got this play in my head and I'm waiting for it to happen. But I gotta be over water for it to happen. Like the plane's going down, it's over water. I'm looking out of the window and right before it hits, open the door and just jump out. Like on some action movie type shit.
Are you familiar with physics?
Yeah,
that's like if you're in an elevator.
The door opens
you think
up.
This is some shit you would say too. If you're in an elevator and it falls right before it hits the bottom, you jump.
You jump up? Nah, I think I would. No, I mean I don't know what I would do in the elevator. I would just break my ankles or some shit.
The theory of relativity, right?
You don't think that'll work?
The theory of relativity. The plane is moving at that speed, which means you are also moving at that speed.
Yeah, but I'm in the plane.
Am I right here?
Yeah, but I'm in the plane.
Yeah, but you're also, whenever you jump out the plane, you're going to be traveling at the same speed that the plane is traveling whenever you jump out.
For sure.
So you're just saying your chances of survival are better there.
Yeah, because if I hit the water, I'm good. Like I can swim.
I'm gonna let you think
it's
that.
better. It's better than.
I hope we. I don't. I hope,
Yeah, I hope that never happens.
I hope we don't gotta talk
I
about
hope that
this.
never happens. But it's better. It's better than being stuck on a plane.
What happens when you jump out of a moving car?
Like that.
I mean, it's better. Like if you hit the water, you're flying through.
I'm gone.
You're gone.
I'm gone.
It's like skipping a rock, right?
Yeah. Like.
And the plane's gone. I'm fine though.
What happens if you ever jump out of a moving vehicle? What happens?
I never had any reason
because you get fucked up. You get fucked up.
I mean, I might try it. I've jumped like off of cliffs and like shit, but
that's from a dead stop though. But
listen, I'm afraid of.
I ain't. Go ahead, man. We can move on.
The shit that
we're gonna take this a place people are gonna think differently about you.
Is where I see people like stuck or like stuck in a seatbelt and they're underwater and they can't go nowhere and move, bro. That's just terrible. That's like one of my fucking fears.
Torture.
Yeah, one of my fears. You got nowhere to go. Is that and being buried alive. Those are my two worst fears, bro.
I know that.
Ooh, I know that. Hell yeah, you kill me. Don't fucking bury me alive. But back to the world places. So the coolest city for me is Moscow.
I enjoyed Moscow. I enjoyed the hell out of Moscow, actually.
Oh, Moscow. I don't know if we can give like Russia like props right now. Can we? They're not involved in all the crazy shit.
The government is. I don't think the people are. I don't think we should. rope them all in
We're
together.
involved too, though. Yeah.
But
yeah, Moscow was dope. Did you ever wrestle up there? You ever go in there in like hostile territories? And
I didn't do much international wrestling at all. I have a lot of international competition done here in the U.S., but when I was in college, I think I competed in China. Outside of that, I don't think I competed anywhere overseas.
Yeah, I'd love going overseas. That's where if I could
love
fight
Europe.
overseas.
I love Europe. I think
everywhere.
my heart's in Europe. My soul is European.
Well, we get treated better in Europe. Fucking yes, black people get treated better in Europe. I'm saying, if you guys didn't pick up on that, like I didn't say fighters as in us.
I know what you meant.
I know what you meant. I don't know why, but but we appreciate you Europeans for that. But yeah, that's probably one of the best cities I've been in. I haven't fought there. You know, Desmond Green fought there. I went out there to corner him. For anybody,
you haven't fought anywhere in Europe?
Yeah, I fought. I fought in Sweden.
How many fights you got, man? You should have fought everywhere by now. Shit.
Close to 40. Pulling on, yeah, close.
How many
to
of those
40.
in the UFC?
30 something.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like you just passed. I feel like you just passed.
I think I'm at 29.
Okay.
I think the last one was
Yeah,
29.
30 coming up.
Yeah, 30's coming up.
Yeah. OG.
That's crazy. I don't understand I mean, I know why I've been in this song.
Well, I will tell you, not just as a coach, not just as your coach, but as your friend, that there's something to be said for that sustainability and longevity. Think about how many fighters you've seen come and go.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not just talking about fighting. We're talking about fighting fighters of the highest level on a consistent basis. And I don't care who it is. If there's a 155-pound fight coming up, we need a late replacement. I'm going with Michael Johnson. No matter who he's fighting, I'm going to put him in there, and I'm going to be confident that he's going to let shit fly. I don't know about winning or losing, but he's going to let shit fly. And you still would get your share of victories, absolutely. But I don't.
Yeah, it's wrestling. I think I've felt into being like my own worst enemy sometimes.
We all are in a certain sense, though. But elaborate on that.
Yeah, just me, like you said, always thinking of other people or focusing on other shit when I just shouldn't just put your fucking head down and get back to work. Like, do the shit that got you here and just keep fucking doing it. You didn't worry about anybody before when you were coming up. You know,
what the fuck does it matter now?
Yeah, what the fuck does it matter now? You know, and that's what it is. And like in outside distractions can fuck with you. You know, like my outside distractions are. I don't know if
they come and go.
They come and go. They come and go.
All of which are for the most part in your control, though.
Yes, they all are in my control. It's just like people usually like run away from their demons all day. I turn around and I fight these motherfuckers all the time.
But that's
sometimes they win.
That's pretty common, though, I think, right? It's like often our biggest strength is also our biggest weakness, right? Yeah. You're really determined. You work really hard. You're really very self-motivated. That's what makes you a good fighter. But you take those same attributes and put them in a little bit of a social setting. They could work against us a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm very similar. I would say fighters in general have a little bit of that disease because to achieve anything, you have to be a little obsessive. Yeah. Right? You have to be obsessive. You got to be resilient. You got to be dedicated, and you got to work towards it. Where we run into problems at, though, is whenever we party with that same attitude. Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Shit goes for 2 or 3 days sometimes. And you know, that's where a thing where it's like, I look back on that and it's like, damn, like, why couldn't I just say no?
Right.
But it was like, fuck no, I was doing it and then going to fucking beat motherfuckers up. So I'm like,
well, I think, too, if you take, like, you take it even from a technical standpoint, right? Is, you know, say you have a good right hand and you rely on that right hand. That's a strength of yours. It puts everyone out, right? But what happens? Yeah. What happens when we can't land that right hand? Yeah. What happens when you got a good scout? You know, so I just wanted to make that kind of connection from social to athletic.
It's a good crazy mix. You gotta have a mixture because I do think you need a little bit of that social added in because you go crazy. Well, there's been times where I've cut complete social life off. I don't want to talk to any girls. I don't want to do nothing. Like I just sit in my place and gym home, and you go crazy. Like you kind of really do, and then you release everything out once you get a little bit of the social shit, and then 2 days, and then it's like, fuck, I should have stayed at home.
Well, to go back kind of where we started that interview at, is that was me my sophomore year. That was me the year I didn't win nationals. I was so self-determined. I don't know if self-determined is the right word, but I was so determined and so intent on winning 4 NCAA titles that I eliminated everything from my life. Yeah. School, practice, home. School, practice, home. And it was like, it got to a point where I was walking around in like an isometric state where I built up all this tension in my body and in my brain. I didn't satisfy it by winning. Winning didn't satisfy it because I should be winning better. Or I should be winning by more. Training kind of did it, but not really. But I had cut everything out of I didn't have a drink of champagne on New Year's. I didn't go out. I didn't do anything. I'm just not like that. Like I can't. Yeah. I can't be all wrestling or all fighting all the time. Because the way my brain works, whenever I latch onto something, I latch onto it and I fucking do it. Yeah.
We're all addicts. We're all addicts. I think we're all
to one degree or another,
right? Yeah, you're addicted to something.
Yeah, we all got our own vices, man.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Well, G. Jones, appreciate you, man. Bro. Thank you for coming on.
Let's do this more often, Michael Johnson.
Of course. The section Menace is Mike will be on live. It's always hot, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. But yeah, we on there. But yeah. But yeah, for sure. Definitely. You know, we'll get you on, get Henry on here. You know, we'll get some guys. We'll always just come in and chop it up. So
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having me.
Everybody at home, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to our sponsors, guys. Hit them up below. Well, we're going to put the comments up here. That was kind of a little off. But Biofuel, Face Meets Fist, guys, Impact Dental Designs, Mouthpiece, Protect Your Grill. And shout out to my maestro. Guys, check in with you guys later.
Batman in this bitch, new hair, new